door. We focus a lot on the arseholes here. But it's not all about being an arsehole *******. Sometimes people are in the wrong, but in a way that's cute and enjoyable. Sometimes it's a silly light-hearted argument between friends that makes us all smile. Sometimes it's an update that reminds us these conflicts can have happy endings. Either way, tell us what your pick is for the most wholesome post below. ____ to nominate the post. Make a top-level comment with the link to the post to vote on your favorite. Upvote the top-level comment that contains the link. Contest mode will stay on for the entire 2 weeks to keep things as fair as possible. So make sure that you pay attention and read through the threads so you're not making a duplicate. Nomination. We will allow updates to be nominated for this category. But keep in mind that removed posts or posts where the op was suspended or banned are not eligible. At the end of 2 weeks the thread will be locked and contest mode will be turned off. ____### keep things civil. Rule. I have been married to my husband, Dale, for 4 years. I gotta say that Dale has this dark sense of humor that was developed from losing his entire family. At a young age, he promised my son, Jacob, a car for his 18th birthday. He was talking about it. How he was saving for it for months. Jacob was beyond thrilled, but then, when his birthday came, and Dale revealed the car, it turns out to be a toy car. He pulled out a small box, told Jacob to open it. Jacob did so thinking it had the key to the new car. But it turns out to be a toy car. Jacob asked about it and Dale revealed that there was no car and that he wanted to get him a toy car from the get-go and that it was a prank. Some guests laughed but Jacob was furious. He yelled at him, then rushed out of the house, which caused the party to be cut short and his friends and other guests leaving. I tried to talk to Jacob after he went to his grandparents' house and said while he had the right to get upset, he overacted and shouldn't have left the party. He called Dale a liar and said that he made fun of him and humiliated him in front of friends. His grandparents sided with him and told me I should not defend what Dale did. Dale has been trying to talk with Jacob to get him to come home, but he Rufused. Wouldn't even answer my calls. So my wife, 26F, and I, 28M, have been married for a year and began trying to conceive in September. No luck so far, but the doctor did say at our first appointment that it typically takes close to a year for most couples to conceive. She's been telling people that she's infertile, which isn't true. Doctor said she isn't. My wife and I went to my work Christmas party in mid-December, where my wife met my coworker's wife. Let's call her Mary. And they took a liking to each other. Mary was pregnant and invited my wife to her baby shower, which was yesterday, and my wife sounded excited to go. I asked her when we were alone if she thinks she'll be fine. I know my wife and I know what typically bothers her. I knew she wouldn't bask in happiness over someone else's pregnancy, so I urged her to think it through. She said she's fine and she was excited, so she went. The baby shower was yesterday. About 40 minutes in, she calls me and asks me to come. I was at a cafe nearby because I knew she wouldn't stay long. I find her at the entrance of the house crying and a bunch of women consoling her. When she saw me, she came to me and pulled me to the garden to talk. She said she was dancing and looked at Mary's pregnant belly and couldn't take it anymore. Started crying and ran out. All of Mary's friends followed her out to console her. I consoled her myself and said, "Okay, let's go, babe." Where do you want to go? We can go for a drive so you can feel better. She looked at me weird and asked why she would leave. I asked why she would stay. She said she feels better now and can go have a good time. I sighed and said, "Babe, you know that's not going to happen. And I doubt the attention will be on Mary after this, and that's not great. It's her baby shower and she deserves to be celebrated. I can't see how people are going to shift their focus from consoling you to celebrating her if you're still there." She rolled her eyes at me and said she was going back in and that I could leave. 3 hours later, the party was nearing its end, so I go back to pick her up. My co-worker and I stepped into the house, and lo and behold, everyone is sitting in a circle with my wife being the center of attention. Co-worker looked for his wife and she wasn't there at all. He called her and she said she had left ages ago. My wife and I entered the car and I first asked her how she was feeling, and we spoke about it for a few minutes. I then asked her what happened and why Mary left. She said, "Oh, Mary. I forgot to say bye to her. I told her Mary left ages ago." I then said, "I know you're going through a hard time, but why on earth would you and her friends do this? If they consoled you for a few minutes, that's fine, but the entire party? We really should have left earlier." She looked at me so offended and said, "Are you Mary's husband or mine?" Quote, "We stared at each other for a while and just drove home in silence. I told her I want to talk to her this morning to sort things out, but she ignored me and left the house." I'm 19 meters and this is about my older half-sisters. My dad had them with a high school girlfriend, but was never in their lives. He'd sleep with her a few times and just never be involved with the girls. She was a train wreck and he made a promise to her parents that he would take them if she got so bad they were suffering for it. But he never planned to keep the promise and he never told anyone about them. Never supported them or anything. So he married my mom and she had no idea. Then when she was pregnant with me, the grandparents showed up and said the girls were not being taken care of and he needed to step up and be their dad. My mom was home on her own and was in so much shock. The girls were 6 and 8 at the time, and were 7 and 9 by the time I was born. I think Dad got home after several hours, and once he realized Mom wasn't handling it like some saint, he was trying to talk her into them raising him together. She didn't want to stay with a liar or raise someone else's kids, so she left him and they divorced. When I was 4 months old, dear old Dad didn't want them either and would allow him to fixate on my mom. He tried to him off on her many times. He'd ask in front of me for her to take them. He'd try to get her co-parenting the 3 of us instead of just me. Mom always kept firm and tried to keep that stuff away from me, but Dad never did. The girls spent years wanting Mom to be their mom. They were in their teens and trying to use me to get Mom to adopt them and stuff of that nature. It was sad. It was awkward as for me. The pressure was a lot. I hated Dad, and when I was 14 I stopped seeing him. And by extension the girls, who still lived with him. Then a couple of years ago they made contact with me and tried to have a relationship again. But they were still so fixated on Mom and it made me uncomfortable, so I always tried to avoid heavy topics with them. A couple of weeks ago while I was at Mom's, they showed up and started yelling at Mom and telling her that she was a piece of and she became their mom the moment she married Dad and should have been there for them. They told her she owed him as much as she owed me, and how could she not love them. I stepped in and told them they needed to leave and that Mom was not their mom and they needed to accept that. It took some time, but they left after I told them they needed to seek help to get over their fixation on Mom and learn to accept that she's not their mom. I told them they need to stay away from Mom, leave her alone, and work on themselves. They texted me after that I was an asterisk just like her and they deserved so much better. AITA, ETA. To answer some of the questions that keep coming up. My mom did not live with them. She was gone once she found out about the lies and she was not part of their lives in any kind of parental or familial capacity. Even at the start. She left Dad and moved out. No trying to make it work. Their mom was not involved. She was not a good mother. She didn't want them either and the grandparents did not stay in their lives either. My brother's bachelor's party was 2 weeks ago. I was part of it and my brother considered my presence a huge deal. However, my wife did not want me nor approved of me going. That's because we have a newborn at home and she didn't want me to travel towns away. I said it'd be fine, even invited Mom to help, but my wife refused. I invited her mom instead and she was still mad. I got back and she refused to speak to me entirely. I already explained how important this was for my brother, but she said I prioritized him and his party over her and our son. She's still refusing to talk. AITA. Last night there was a dinner party at my girlfriend's sister's, Lana, house to celebrate the recent birth of their child with some of her family and friends. Afterwards we were outside having some drinks and discussing the birth itself. Lana was talking about how embarrassed she was afterwards because she'd shat herself during and how she wanted to just bury her head in the sand. Only 3 women in the group have had kids. Lana, one of her friends and my girlfriend. The rest hadn't and seemed quite shocked that Lana shat herself, including my girlfriend. To be fair, they weren't laughing directly at her in an intentionally malicious way but were still laughing in a, "You really did that?" type of way. My girlfriend chimed in saying that she would have been surprised if Lana wasn't embarrassed after all over herself, then started dramatizing the whole thing, jokingly as if it were a major deal. It was all banter, but to cover all corners I added that it's actually common to yourself while giving birth. With all the pushing and pressure being exerted on your stomach. It's frankly only natural and a very common occurrence, so she shouldn't be bothered. The friend who has a child agreed with me, but one cousin was like, "Yeah, right," and so I doubled down and used my girlfriend as an example. She also pooped during the birth. She seemingly didn't realize and we never spoke about it because it literally didn't matter to anyone. I didn't give a ****. The nurses didn't give a ****. The doctor absolutely didn't give a ****. What matters is the baby came out. Even if he came out with unexpected friends. My girlfriend argued with me for a bit, insisting that she didn't, but stopped when I told her she could ask her mother. She was also there. From then onwards she completely ignored me. Every time I spoke to her she would simply just stare at me, then continue talking to someone else. This made things a bit tense since everyone noticed, so I told her that I'd wait in the car and excused myself. She followed about 30 minutes later and as soon as we got home she gave it to me. She thinks it was a ***** move, blasting the fact that she shat herself to everyone like that and that it was really embarrassing and unnecessary. No one even cared, and I could tell it made Lana feel calmer, but I just let her get it out and didn't say anything. Things are still quite cold, and I just keep replaying this in my head, wondering if I'm the AITA F24. Have been living with my BF M26 for 6 months. I work full-time. My BF doesn't. TDLR. I do 90% of the chores. My BF is willing to help but wants me to tell him whenever something has to be done. I don't agree with this, so he called me an AITA issue. Since we've started living together, I've done 90% of the chores. I have complained to my BF a few times, telling him I would really appreciate if he could help me and that I would like to come back from work to a clean house. My BF has always been willing to help. The issue is that he wants me to tell him whenever I want him to do something. AKA, he wants me to tell him when I want him to cook, clean etc. A few weeks ago, I started cleaning our apartment on the weekend. I was pretty as I had a very long and stressful week at work. During the week, a pile of dirty clothes had piled up and a bunch of dirty dishes was in the kitchen. I was that my BF stays at home all day and didn't clean neither the dishes nor the dirty clothes. While I was cleaning, my BF came to me and told me he was angry that I didn't tell him I was cleaning. So because I didn't tell him, he wasn't able to help me. I broke down and told him I can't always tell him what to do. That I'm not his mother and that he should be autonomous at his age. After all this, he called me an and said I didn't know how to communicate. At the time of this incident, I was also pretty sick. We had nothing in the fridge. I didn't have time during the week to do grocery shopping as I had been doing 9 to 7 all week at work. After our fight, I went to take a nap as I had a lot of fever. I woke up in the evening to my BF being because he was hungry and complaining that there was no food in the fridge. I asked him why he didn't go grocery shopping and cook something, and he said he hadn't think of doing that and I should have tell him that I wanted him to go buy us food. I broke down again and another fight started. I told him that he couldn't blame me for being hungry when I am already doing all the chores and feels sick. Again, he called me an He said that he is 100% willing to help. But I need to tell him what to do. I don't agree with the fact that I should tell him whenever I want him to do something, and because of that, my BF thinks I'm the So, dear Redditors, AITA, edit. I did try to ask him what to do once. An evening I asked him to do laundry the next day. He said he will do it and also go buy a few groceries the next day. I came back home the next day and he hadn't done the laundry nor the grocery shopping. After that, we got into a fight and I stopped asking him to do things. Edit 2. Thanks for all the comments. I learned quite a lot about the mental load and weaponized incompetence. Never heard those words before. I will set up a chores chart and give it a month. If nothing changes, I'll leave. Low stakes post. But I'll use a throwaway anyway. My Dill has been with my daughter for around 10 years now. And before that they've always been friends. I think my Dill is a wonderful person and we all love her very much. When she was younger she stayed at our house a lot because her home life wasn't good. So she's close with all of us. Not just my daughter. Last week, she asked me if she could start casually calling me mom or something to that effect. She said it was because she saw us all as family and viewed me like a mother figure. I told her that I love her a lot too and see her as a daughter figure as well. That is all true. And that I really appreciate that she feels that way towards me and wants to call me that. But that because I'm not actually her mother, I wasn't comfortable with it. Would feel that it was a bit odd. I have never heard of that being done before. At least where we are. Meaning that this isn't a cultural tradition that I'm denying her. And I felt that it was okay to say no because I still made sure to tell her that I care about her. Regardless. My daughter rang me the next day saying that Dil was upset about it and felt rejected, and my son said that I was callous for not wanting to let her call me mom. They both just said it made me seem colder and a bit arsehole-ish. They didn't use those words, but I understood the meaning. I've spoken with Dil about it again since. And she said that she understands. But still. Was I an asterisk? My wife has been putting in 10 to 14-hour days chained to her computer for the past 2 to 3 weeks through weekends as well. Edit to clarify, the last 2 to 3 weeks have been 100+ hour weeks. The whole year has been bad with lots of lost weekends and working over vacations. Wasn't able to take any days off for the holidays either. She's been screaming obscenities about her job. How she wants to quit. How it's ridiculous she's working so hard without any break. There have been multiple tear-filled days. I have been walking on eggshells doing everything I can to help around the house and get her anything she wants. But I am on edge, constantly watching for an explosion. Today, working through the weekend again. She was screaming about other people she worked with her up, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I texted her boss. Edit. We work at the same company and I'm semi-friendly with him already. And said 1. There are limits for human beings. 2. This kind of thing can't happen again next year. He agreed and said he'd try to help. Either way. He did a job of keeping me out of his conversation with her about limits today. So she found out I'd messaged him ASAP. Edit. Yep, that's me complaining about getting caught red-handed. AITA. Now she's telling me it was extremely misogynistic to message her boss to say she can't handle her job. Which I didn't say. And it's going to set her career back years. Says she can't ever trust me anymore to talk about work or how she's feeling. Generally threw me in the doghouse. AITA here? I honestly don't know. I can't stand to see her that strung out by work. But did I cross the line too far? Edit. I'm the ***. There's more detail in the comments. But I realized almost as soon as I posted how much an **** I am. Reddit is good for perspective even if it's sometimes harsh. Let's be honest. I needed the harsh this time. I talked to my wife this morning. Apologized. And she asked me to apologize to her boss and never speak to him again. Her boss was cool about the moment of weakness. Said he understood, and that he would not let it affect how he treated my wife at work. All is certainly not forgiven. But we'll work through it one step at a time. For context, late 20s, grew up in a very poor environment with a mother who couldn't take care of herself, let alone her large amount of children, which resulted in myself raising my siblings in their early life. We have never had the greatest relationship, as she has been known to steal from and abuse her children. I will be trying to keep as much personal information as vague as possible. First post and on mobile, so sorry if it's unreadable. Over the last few years my mother has been diagnosed with a large amount of health issues and most recently has been told there is a possibility it is terminal. With this information I mentioned that my mother should start getting her affairs in order as she has younger school-aged children that will need to be looked after. Myself and 4 of my other adult siblings are not in any position mentally or financially to 1. Cover the cost of her funeral and 2. Raise her primary school-aged children when the inevitable happens. When I asked my mother what will be happening with my younger siblings, she had said they will come and live with myself and my other adult-aged siblings. This then led to an argument, as I stated that she should not be expecting her elder children to be taking care of her younger children, and that she would not be in this position if she had stopped having children when her elder children became adults. She has a large amount of children with different dads, and the eldest 3 were adults when the younger few were born. My mother has now proceeded to turn my extended family against me with her social media posts that are over-exaggerated regarding the situation, so AITA for telling my mother she shouldn't be expecting us to raise her kids. We went out to dinner with a few other couples last night, including 2 new ones that are friends of our friends. My girlfriend and I don't really drink, and didn't last night. Editing this in early so people see it. The restaurant has it in their menu. They don't do split checks for whatever reason. I've seen that at a few of the fancier places near us. When the check came, one of the new people took it, figured out the tip, and then said everyone owes X amount. Me and my girlfriend looked at each other and giggled. Then she took the check and started rallying our total, which obviously was less than what the average was since everyone else drank. Mostly everyone agreed it actually made sense, but one of the new couples was extremely offended and said something along the lines of only children bother tallying totals instead of just splitting it evenly. I said maybe we're children then, but I'm not paying for some rando's alcohol when I didn't even drink. My main friend later messaged saying the other couple never wants to hang out with us again, and even though he sees our point, maybe we should have just split it evenly. Are we assholes? Lots of edits. Sorry. Believe it or not, this restaurant actually has a no separate checks clause written on their menu. It was a fancier steak place. I have seen this before at a few places. Edit. Posting this because for some reason, my parents agree with them and say they always do an even split when they go out. Also, I don't think they were being moochers like people are suggesting, as I'm sure they would have paid an even amount had me and my girl also been drinking. It was just a weird social quirk, I think. My wife and I had our first child 3 months ago. My sister lives 2 hours away and has seen my daughter once. The wife, kid, and I made plans to travel the 2 hours to visit my sister. I thought this would be a good opportunity for my sister to visit with my daughter, and we'd go out to eat somewhere. My sister has 3 dogs who are her world and have free rein at her place. Much to my chagrin at times. They are allowed on the couch, in the kitchen, everywhere. I've visited her and not sat on the couch because I don't want dog hair on me. We've had family vacations where she brought her dogs. Everything had to be dog-friendly or centric, and I did not enjoy that trip. I've passed on future vacations. There was no point in trying to talk her out of bringing them, plus, I don't want to spend my vacation with her dogs. When we arrived, I knock, hear the barking, and tell my wife to hold off bringing my daughter inside until I know the dogs are in another room. Sister opens the door, greets me, and says, "Come inside." I ask, "Do you mind putting the dogs in another room?" She pauses, goes, "Absolutely not," and looks baffled I'd even request that. I told her that I'm not ready for my daughter to be around 3 dogs. It's only for about an hour, then we are going to lunch. After a bit of back and forth, it's obvious she won't put the dogs away. I just say, all right, I'm going to head home. I help my wife put my daughter in the car and start to leave. The whole time my sister is flipping out, saying asterisk. She says she didn't even get to see her niece. Says I'm an asterisk, etc. So after 5 minutes at my sister's house, we drove the 2 hours back home. I had 24 texts and phone calls from her that I didn't acknowledge. So was I the asterisk in this situation? I feel like I'm eating crazy pills because the situation feels surreal. But it's actually happening. And I'd like a perspective on it. Real names changed for privacy purposes. I've had a friend, Clara, and we've been close since we met. She is struggling with some mental health issues, and I've always been there for her and helped her out where I can. We also share a lot of our personal lives and stories with each other. Early last year I met a guy. Let's call him Brad. Brad was quite alright, and we hit it off as we had a few common topics we shared. Making new friends was always a good thing, and I wanted to introduce him into my circle of friends too. Unfortunately, Brad and Clara got into an extremely heated argument. It was something completely dumb. To me, something about whether a gun would defend you if the attacker had a knife or sword but had the element of surprise. It escalated so badly that they were calling each other terrible names. And I was shocked since I had never seen either of them act this way before. They parted on extremely bad terms despite my best attempt at brokering the peace. Over the next couple of days I tried to talk to Clara and get him to make up. But she was adamant about the situation being final and even gave me an ultimatum. Either I break off all contact with him or she will break off contact with me. I gave her another 2 days to cool off, but there was no change. I valued her, and knew her longer, so I reluctantly chose her. I was candid with Brad. Explained the situation and that I had nothing against him. Clara disappeared a few weeks later. She does this often when her mental state worsens, and shuts herself in for some time. I sent her a few messages to check on her well-being but didn't get a reply. This time was much longer than previously, but I thought nothing of it, having given her the option to come back whenever she was ready. 2 weeks ago she returned after several months, and announced her engagement to Brad, then invited me to her wedding. After getting over my shock, I asked why they were together. She said he was there for her when he went through a tough time and he was her world. I turned down her invitation and said I would not like to attend. She got upset and said that I should put my differences with him aside. I said I had no differences with him. It was her I had an issue with. She told me to cut him out, then went and got engaged with him. I feel like I was made to be the fool. Since then her friends have been hounding me, saying I should get over myself, stop being jealous, and that I was never in a relationship with Brad in the first place. I feel like this isn't about Brad at all. But everyone seems to disagree. AITA for turning it down? I'm a SAHD. My wife, Jenna, has an amazing job, so we have no money problem. I'm the one who take care of the children, Joan 11F and James 12M, for most of the day. I'm also the one who join the other parents in most of the parent-children activities. I am a designated driver for my son's soccer team. I bring my daughter to piano lessons, etc. etc. Recently, the school organized a recital and they allowed parents to come to school to help organizing the play, sewing the clothes, creating the background items, etc. etc. It's not mandatory. Teachers and students will do most of the work anyway. But if a parent wants to participate, they can. I decided to help out on Tuesday and Thursday. The first week was okay. I helped assembling a tree, painted a bunch of cardboards and helped few kids memorizing their lines. Beside me there were only 5 other parents. 4 moms and 1 father. I had met the other father and 2 moms before, but I didn't know the other 2. When I went back this Tuesday, though, one of the teachers asked me to stop coming. She told me that 2 of the moms, the one I had not met before, didn't feel safe having me and the other father so close to their children. I could have insisted, but I'm not a confrontational person and I didn't want to make a scene. So I went back home for the day. Thursday I went again. I helped doing few things, but after 20 minutes one of the 2 moms arrived and asked me to go away. I could have gone home, but I was quite sick of the situation. I told her I was authorized to stay there and that I simply wanted to help the school and my children. She talked to a teacher. He basically repeated what I told her. I thought the situation was solved, but apparently I was wrong since the 2 moms are now berating me in the parents' Telegram group, claiming that children will be restless around a stranger, especially if it's a tall man. I never had problems with children before, but maybe I am scaring the youngest children and I never noticed. AITA